You want up here?
Everything is not what it seems.
Okay, hey you guys. Today my dog is joining us for the video. Say hi, Scooby. Alright. I'm actually excited about today's video because if you don't know, well, you probably don't know, that my favorite YouTube videos are conspiracy theories and story times. It's like I watch conspiracy theories like probably the second most, but story times are on top. That's, you know, like kind of like my go-to thing. And I have been wanting to make a story time, I mean, ever since I made the YouTube channel. And I couldn't think of a story to tell for the life of me. I'm like, I would love to fill up my page with just story times, but I'm just really boring. Like, there's not really much that happens like in my life, which is the issue, which is why I didn't have a story time. I'm not rebellious, I don't go out and do things, like, I'm very much of a homebody, and that's probably why I like story time so much, because it's so not like my life, and I'm like, something interesting, please. But yesterday, I was watching an American Idol video, and this guy said something that reminded me of something that this other kid said that's gonna be in the story, and I was like, hey, that was really weird. I should make that a story time. It all starts with... Could you be quiet? It all starts with my friend Hannah. She was in the makeup swap video with me. Before I get into the actual gist of the story, the main point of the story, I have to bring it back to... It was like freshman year. Hannah was telling me about this kid that had a crush on her. And this kid was being paid by her mom to cut the grass. Side note though, Hannah's mom, like I always remembered, Hannah's mom was always like, she doesn't do it anymore, but when we were younger, like you could tell that Hannah's mom was always trying to get her to date boys. Like it was almost as if like she didn't think that Hannah was ever going to be able to date, and so she was scared for her and she was trying to like force dating upon her, but Hannah was like no. And Hannah's mom wanted like Hannah to date this kid, and Hannah was not having it. She did not like this kid at all. Oh, she was telling me he had this huge crush on her and he was kind of weird. I don't remember the exact conversation, but I do remember that like she had me go over her house because she wanted me to meet this kid because he was weird, and nobody believed that he was weird because we were all just like,
Hannah, you just don't know how to handle somebody having a crush on you.
But she's like,
no, he's actually really weird.
And nobody would believe her, so she was like,
MaKaila, I want you to come to my house because he's gonna cut the grass today and I want you to meet him.
And I was like,
okay.
So I went over her house after school, and her mom wasn't home. I don't know why her mom wasn't home, but her mom wasn't home, and I remember she told me this kid walks past, like he purposefully walks past the house every day to talk to me, and so I guarantee you if we go sit outside, he's gonna come talk to us. We were sitting on the porch waiting on him, and I had a half of a tomato cut in half, and I was eating it with a fork. I mean, it's not really weird that he stopped to talk to us because he did have to come over later to cut the grass, but he stopped and he was talking to us, and he was like leaning against the fence. Basically, you know, saying like, do I still need to come cut the grass or whatever, and Hannah's like,
I don't know, like my mom said you had to come cut the grass, and you had to come cut the grass.
And at this point, like, I didn't think he was weird at all. I just thought maybe this is just a kid who like doesn't know how to flirt, and he's just awkward, and Hannah's even more awkward, so it's nothing weird. He just doesn't know how to flirt. And I'm being weird, like, you know, like I'm saying weird stuff, like, you know, just because like I'm kind of poking fun at Hannah. But yeah, so he ended up coming over the house, he cut the grass, and he came in the house, and I can't remember why he came in the house. He probably came in the house because like he had to wait for her mom to come pay him. But I remember he was sitting in the house with us, and I was just sitting there. I was standing and watching watching them, I guess, like more so probably watching him to weird him out, and I was eating the other half of the tomato. Like they were kind of talking they were kind of talking about how it was weird that I was just sitting there eating a tomato with a fork, and I was like, don't you like tomatoes? I don't know, it was a stupid conversation. In the midst of this all happening, I had my fork and I started scratching my arm with it. This whole part was just for me to tell you that I was scratching my arm with the fork, and you will see why this is important later. A couple days later, or maybe it was a couple weeks, I don't really remember, I'm over at Hannah's house again. We were on a walk. We went on a walk, and we see the kid. We should name the kid. Okay, I'm gonna call him Lawnmower because he was always cutting the grass. So we see Lawnmower and his friend we're gonna call Bike. And you'll know why his name is Bike later. There was, I don't know, I think it might have been Lawnmower's little brother or it was their friend, I can't remember, but it was 3 of them and they were all together, and I can't remember what happened, but I feel like it was an awkward encounter when we went on this walk, and so Hannah and I were talking about it when we got back to the house, and I called Hannah to ask her how this happened because we both can't remember. I don't know who came up with the idea, but I feel like it probably was me. Like, I can see Hannah saying like something like, this would be funny if it would happen, but I don't think she would ever be like, let's do this. But basically, we were sitting there and we're like, we should do something really strange. You know, the strange thing that we decided to do?
This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna invite them to a bonfire. We're gonna invite them to a bonfire, and we are gonna pretend to be witches.
Why? Why did we decide to do this? I don't know. Okay, so now you know why this title is what it is. This is the story of how I became a witch, okay? So we went to go to the boys, and the Bike wasn't there. But we invited the boys to a bonfire, and we said,
be there at 9:03 on the dot. Don't come any later or any sooner. 9:03 on the dot. And do not knock on the door. Go around to the backyard and we will meet you.
They're like, okay. Hannah's mom was not home again, by the way. So if you're wondering how this all happened, it's because she wasn't home. So we go back home and we do our makeup. I remember we did dark makeup, like eyeshadow or whatever. We put on I purposely put on this lipstick for the purpose of this video because it's a witch video, so I put on black lipstick. But it wasn't this lipstick. We had on she didn't have a black lipstick at the time, so we put on a dark purple lipstick. I had on a black sweater, a black leather skirt. Hannah had on a long t-shirt dress. It was all black, and she had on Doc Martens. I think she didn't have any shoes that fit me, so I had to put on my shoes that had color in it, so it kind of threw off we're evil witch thing. But we put on these ridiculous outfits that were mostly black. And then we went into the kitchen, got a bowl, and put a bunch of her mom's probably expensive spices into this bowl because we were gonna use it later. Then we waited till 9:03 on the dot, and we looked out the window and we see the boys coming up to the house. Lawnmower, the kid that likes Hannah, is coming up the door, coming up to the door. And Hannah says that she remembers closing the blinds and everything, and she was laughing. But what I remember is that she was freaking out because she was like,
oh my gosh, we're about to embarrass ourselves.
True.
And I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
I remember her freaking out, and she was that was why she was closing, and she's like, we can't do this anymore, we can't do this anymore. And I remember being like,
no, we're doing this.
I go up to the door, because, like, the door had, like a curtain on it. I remember saying that this is a curtain, right? And I come up to the door, and, like, I go to the curtain, I talk through the door, and I'm like,
we said to go around back.
and, oh my god, this is so dumb. He's like, okay, whatever. And he goes around back with his friend. We go and grab our spices, and, we go outside, and we're just acting so dumb. Like, we're sitting there like acting like we're like half possessed or something, and we're like mumbling and stuff, and I started itching like crazy because that's what I did with the fork. That's why the fork part was important, because I start itching like I'm crazy or something, like. And, you know, like, we're trying to act, like, really, like, weird or whatever. And you would think that at this point, the boys would be, like, looking at each other like... You'd think that they'd be looking at each other like that. But they're sitting there like this is completely normal. Like, how we're, like, dressed, how we're acting. Like, we're talking like we are possessed. Like, we're asking them crazy questions. Something about the blood of like 3 virgins was brought up, but we noticed that the little boy, like Lawnmower's little brother or something, isn't there. And so we're like,
Lawnmower, bike, go get your little friend or whatever.
So they leave for a second, and Lawnmower's older brother comes over. We'll call him Daniel. And basically we tell Daniel what we're doing, and he thinks it's like, he's like, alright, this is goofy, whatever, like, peace out. And then they came back. Basically, little boy couldn't hang out with us, so he didn't come over. Now we're like talking to him and like we're being weird, and as it gets darker, mosquitoes are swarming Hannah and I, like they are attacking. They want blood, and it never stops through this entire story, okay? Then, as we're sitting here talking about the blood of 3 virgins and whatnot, we take the spices that we took from the kitchen out of the bowl and we're throwing it into the fire, mumbling, just saying weird things, mumbling spells or whatever. I don't know what we were doing, but we were mumbling, just throwing the stuff into the fire. And the boys still are acting like this is completely normal. Like, I feel like Hannah and I were more weirded out than these boys were, because, like, they weren't weirded out, which was weird to us. Like, we're asking questions or whatever. I think we were doing it as if, like, we were trying to make sure that they were pure enough because we were gonna sacrifice them. Like, that's what we were trying to, like, insinuate. We're, like, with, like, our creepy voices, like,
So, what do you do for fun?
And Bike goes, I go to work. And we're like,
Okay, what do you do for work?
and he's like, work on cars. We're like,
Okay, what do you do when you're not at work?
he's like, on Fridays I ride my bike. Yeah, he said that right after. So we were like, we're saying, like, thinking like, oh, obviously, like, you like whatever, like, motorized vehicles. So we were like, automatically assume that he's talking about a motorcycle. So we're like,
You have a motorcycle?
because, like, he was older than us, but he was still, like, younger than what, like, would be normal to have a motorcycle. Like, I think he was, like, 17. And keep in mind, like, we were, like, freshmen at this time, but it was still, like, cool to us. So we were like, you have a motorcycle? And he was like, no, I ride my bike. We were like,
Oh.
like, so disappointed. Like, we thought you had a motorcycle. Okay, like, I have a bike too. Now keep in mind, the mosquitoes are just getting worse, and still the boys are acting like nothing is weird. Like, literally, Lawnmower the entire time. I just remember him just being there like acting like nothing was weird. Like, nothing was weird to them. And these mosquitoes, I don't know why the mosquitoes were attacking us and not attacking them, but I'm assuming that they were attacking them and they just didn't mind. Like, it's okay, it's fine. Hannah and I are trying to stay in character, but it's really hard when these mosquitoes are attacking you. Like, I only had on a skirt, so they're getting on my legs, and I just remember just being like, literally slapping our faces because the mosquitoes were attacking us. Like, these are the most vicious mosquitoes I have ever encountered in my life. After this, like, very weird spell casting and awkward talking and, you know, whatever, I think we declared that because there wasn't the third virgin there, that and Hannah got this, like, pitcher of water and just psh, like, the smoke is like psh, everywhere, and we said,
"It is over. Bye."
And just, like, go into the house. And we go into the house and we shut the door, and you would have thought that the boys were like, wow, this was so weird. Wow, those girls are so crazy. I want to go home. I just wasted my life here. But they stayed. Like, they stayed in the backyard for like a good 10 minutes. And we don't know why. We just kind of watched them, like, waiting for them to leave. And eventually they did. And, you know, why did we do that? I don't know, but we did, and I don't understand it. Don't ask me why we did it. It didn't make any sense. Update on Bike. No idea where he is in life. Update on Lawnmower. Haven't heard anything about him in a while. Last time anything about me, I just said his name. Last time anything was said about Lawnmower, he kept messaging her on Messenger. He was messaging her, like, consistently, like, every 2 weeks, saying hey, and she would open the message and then not reply, so we'd get the hint, like, I'm not interested. Like, he wasn't getting the hint. Like, she didn't want to say anything mean, like, leave me alone. But one day her friend took her phone and he messaged him saying, like, I'm not interested. And he sent, like, a couple more messages and then he stopped. Honestly, she thought he was really weird. I still don't think he was weird. I think he was just, like, an awkward flirter and just, like, wasn't her type of person. So, yeah, if Lawnmower happens to see this video, he's gonna know it's about him. And, Lawnmower, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just Hannah's not interested. Don't feel bad though. Her standards are pretty up there, so there's nothing to feel bad about. And I think her mom was gonna need somebody to cut the grass again this summer, so if you need some money, go get that moolah, but Hannah's not interested. I don't know how to end this video. But, yeah. Like I said, I really don't have many story times to share, but if I can think of any more, I will. And if you want to hear those, then go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments, or whatever. You know what to do. Whatever, all that dumb shit that YouTubers say at the end of the video. Yeah. Bye. You want to say bye? Okay, he's not. Bye!